Phillies Braves. What is your betting angle on this game? Or angle?
Yeah, I like the Phillies in both halves, particularly since the full game money line moved up. The first 5 line hasn't budged, hasn't gone above plus 110, sitting about plus 108 at the best price. Currently, I like the first 5 to plus 107, the full game down to plus 120. And I actually have a larger bet on the first 5, even though the edge is actually smaller. Both teams in their lesser split here, they both excel against lefties, which is why I like the overs in game 1. Zach Wheeler, the better pitcher for me than Kyle Wright, 3.1 versus 3.9 expected ERA. I know Kyle Wright led the major leagues in wins. He was great this year, shaved 5% off of his walk rate, threw his curveball more than any other pitch. Mostly curveball, 4-seam fastball, sinker. Phillies 7th against curveballs, 11th against fastballs this season. The Braves, I would say, have the better offensive splits. They did rank better against right-handers than the Phillies did, ever so slightly. And they also have good splits against Wheeler's pitch types. Wheeler mostly 4-seam fastball, slider, sinker. Braves 2nd against fastballs, 7th against sliders. So Wheeler, the slightly better pitcher. Braves, the better offensive splits, both in terms of handedness and pitch types. Not to a significant degree, though. Bullpen and defensive advantages for the Braves. So based on where I projected this number, I make the Phillies a slight favorite for the first 5 innings, just minus 101. Do like them to plus 107. And then in terms of the full game line, have it closer to plus 110. So I'd bet the Phillies down to plus 120 or better. The final bet that I'd take a look at, also the first 5 over 3.5 runs. I'd need minus 115 or better, though. The market's sitting around minus 120 right now. So if that dips just a little bit, I might add a first 5 over.
Okay, more Phillies love on this podcast over the last couple weeks. Colin Whitchurch, we'll go to you next for Phillies Braves game 2.
Yeah, we're getting Phillies love, and Anthony DeBundo's not even on the show. It's kind of disgusting, if I'm being honest. I'm with the Phillies, though. I'm with everything Zerillo just said. Listen, the Braves are in trouble. The defending world champs are in trouble. They had to win Max Fried against Ranger Suarez. They didn't. Now they're in a 1-0 hole going against Zach Wheeler today. Aaron Nola in game 3. I was actually looking at the series finish prices, and Philly sweep is all the way down to plus 270, which kind of makes sense given the Wheeler-Nola gauntlet Atlanta needs to run through. I wouldn't necessarily place a bet on that, but I'm with Zerillo on Philly today. I talked a lot about Wheeler at the top of the show, his dominance, his strikeout numbers against Atlanta this year, and Wright's struggles against lefties are a little bit concerning. A 3.61 xFIP versus 2.96 against right-handed pitching. Going to be looking for a big day out of Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber potentially. And then the Phillies 7th best against curveballs, which Wright goes to a lot. I like the Phillies offense in this against Kyle Wright. Phillies offense is clicking kind of on all cylinders. Even Nick Castellanos had kind of a rough up and down year. We saw him break out big in game 1. You see these teams, who kind of had this potential during the season and never fully clicked, which is kind of funny to say about a team that was good enough to qualify for the playoffs. But once they start rolling in October, they just don't stop. And that's what it kind of seems like it's happening with this Philly offense right now. I think Wheeler has a significant edge over Kyle Wright. I'm on Phillies first 5 plus 105, full game plus 120 as well.
I just want to add Nick Castellanos reminding me of 2007 JD Drew, who signed a big contract with the Red Sox, struggled during the regular season, and then finally getting it together in the playoffs. And watching this series yesterday, I just felt in my gut that this is going 5 games. I would project the Braves plus 1.5 games around minus 130. You can get it around that number out there. Not necessarily a big edge plus EV, but I feel like that's not a bad look.